In a world overrun with the fake, delusional, and disingenuous, he stands as a beacon of truth. He is Abuki Cabal. You are listening to Abuki Cabal.
Welcome to the Abuki Cabal Show.
What's going on, folks? Sorry for the hiatus. I had to take a little time off and take care of some family business. Sure you guys already knew about what was kind of going on. Finally got a chance to get in and do some work. Not only that, been kind of stressed in between work and that. So finally I've got a little time to get back at some of the things that I like talking about. I like sharing with you guys, make us think about some things and, how our world is changing and whether that's for the best or to our detriment. So, as I was skimming through some of my favorite shows, I came to another reason for a system failure. That being this new thought process towards the acceptance of things that are not supported by factual information, any science or anything of that nature. We're going down this rabbit hole, and I'm wondering to myself just where it's going to lead us in the future, because there is just this total disrespect and of science, statistics, data. And it reminds me of something I've heard before. And it was a little clip that I heard. I'm going to share it with you guys and see what you think. Take a listen.
Excuse me. I didn't know that you were doctors.
Doctors? We're not doctors.
I beg your pardon. I thought you knew what you were talking about.
You're damn rude, sir.
I'm afraid that stupidity always brings out the worst in me.
Stupidity?
Yes, stupidity. It is fools like you who have blocked progress throughout the ages. You make pronouncements on half-facts that you don't understand anyway.
I find your tone and manner highly objectionable, sir. But if you wish to involve yourself in an argument about it, pray explain the word progress in this context.
You wouldn't understand it. But I will give you a parallel that you may just appreciate. Had man not been given to invention and experiment, then tonight, sir, you would have eaten your dinner in a cave. You would have strewn the bones about the floor and then wiped your fingers on a coat of animal skin. In fact, your lapels do look somewhat greasy. Good night.
So telling little interaction between those men, but that it kind of reflects where we are today, I think. And that leads me into what we're going to talk about here. And it was a little, interview that, one of my favorite shows, channels here on YouTube. And that's We Need to Talk. And he interviews a young lady regarding the situation between trans athletes and sports. And we're going to take a look at what she says. I'm not gonna long stroke you guys as a lead attorney says. I love it when he says that. It just kind of gets me where it gets me going. So let's get into that, and we will see what you guys think about that. And I'll try to keep my interruptions to a minimum, but as much as I can tolerate it. So let's take a look at what she has to say.
want to say, well, I mean, it is different because, like you said, biologically, men and women are different. I do acknowledge that.
Okay, we're on the same page.
Yeah, but at the same time, again, that's just a really thick ball of yarn that needs to be untangled and worked through. But
listen, it's the message right here. Black boy, tell me how you really feel. Cause I just wanna build with you. Black girl, tell me how you really feel. I wanna keep it real with you. I wanna live better, eat better. I wanna love better, sleep better. Yeah, I wanna feel so aligned.
I think when it comes to sports, that's just something that they have to consider now. Because I think more people are comfortable with being who they are. And so regardless of if they were born a man, if they feel like they are a woman and they want to transition, they are a woman now. And so I don't know, maybe it just is, it's gonna take some, like a lot of things that are changing and a lot of ideas that are shifting. It might just take some adjusting. I don't know. Like, I don't know how that would work.
But I think
it's more complicated than is it fair? Because it's just like,
No, I agree. But I think the problem is if, for instance, if Joanna, have you ever watched Joanna Man?
A long time ago.
Okay, so Joanna Man was a guy who was pretending to be a woman because he got kicked out of the NBA, so he went to the WNBA. Okay. So if a Joanna Man happened, he would be the highest paid WNBA player. And that would take money, potential endorsement deals away from the Candace Parkers and the, the other girls, and Brittany Griners and things like that. Is that fair?
Again, I'm not in the sports world.
No, just hypothetically. Just using that as an example.
That's like, I don't think there's a...
Because sports is about performance. You get paid based on your performance.
I don't think you can say if it's fair. I just think it's going to take some adjusting.
And what you guys are looking at here is fear. This is the fear-induced response of not crossing that community. You can't say anything about them. You cannot say that what they're doing goes against science, nature, rational thought. You can't say these things because it's deemed hate speech nowadays. So we've come to a place to where she cannot bring herself to break her indoctrination. I mean, she has been assimilated into this form of thought process to where she accepts it. She wholeheartedly accepts it. And it's really funny. It's painful to watch, but we will continue here. Let's go.
Like the people who, nobody makes the game, but the people who control, what's going on, like the higher ups, like there needs to be some adjustments and I don't know, figure out how that quite works and how it quite fits in.
So see, here again, she says, the powers that be need to figure that out. So that absolves her of any responsibility of having to think and answer this question in a way that is truthful and that has to deal with any form of thought process by which she logically has to break that down. She's avoiding it, and she will continue to avoid it. And these are the people that are enabling this type of dangerous change to societal norms that's taking place.
But I don't think it's fair to not let those people play.
What would be so your first point, you said the higher up should make adjustment. What would be their incentive?
To make adjustments?
Yeah.
Like you said, what was it? You said the UFC fighter was breaking people's skulls?
She dodged.
Or dying or getting seriously hurt. I would think there would be some kind of
No, but you're saying the adjustment should be more inclusive, not exclusive.
Yeah, just trying to figure out how we quite navigate this. And honestly, I don't know how they quite navigate it. Like,
I got one. How about make a trans league, a trans MMA category where they box each other? Trans female boxing category. So those females would box against trans females. You know, how about that? How about you have a trans basketball league? How about that? Problem solved. You know? How about you have a trans category in swimming, and then you have them swim against each other, and then the best of the trans people would swim against each other. You know? Problem solved, don't you think?
I don't know, because I don't think it's fair to not include those people. Like, I feel like they should be included, and they should
Even if the consequence is women's skulls being broken?
But I don't think it's fair just because, you know, you have felt your whole life that you are a woman, but you also love this sport and you want to play this sport, but you're kind of, you know, a little more advanced as far as the physical aspect goes.
It's not a little.
A little bit, I'm gonna say a little bit. And so you can't just say like, oh, that person can't play. Like, nah, that's why I said I don't know what adjustments.
So she totally, now these are the most educated now. These are the most educated people now in our community. Yet she doesn't want to acknowledge the information that says that there are differences between men and women, and these people are transitioning to a different gender, but they are still men, and they still have the hormonal makeup of men, the musculature of men, the anatomical makeup of men. Now you can go in and you can aesthetically make them look like they're women till you're blue in the face. Yet underneath all of that facade is going to be a man. And you're going to put that person against a woman who is built differently, who does not have the same hormonal mixture in her bloodstream. And if she did, then it would be deemed a synthetic enhancement, which would get her disqualified from the sport. And even if she got that, she still wouldn't be able to compete against a transitioning man. It's just not, it would change her appearance, but not necessarily her ability to perform the same as that transitioning man who looks like a woman. So this is yet another example of how this is causing confusion amongst people who shouldn't be confused at all about something as basic as they're not confused as whether a man should compete for money against a woman. Now, if this woman was getting beat out in the street, they would say, "This is a shame. Take that man to jail." You know, and some people are still looking at this and still looking at it in the same way and saying that pretty much this woman is not on a level playing field with this individual and will be destroyed. And I think there's another sector of the public who basically is sitting back saying, "Hey, you know, if she wants cake, let her eat cake." You know, so part of this is funny, and you want to kind of let it run its course. But the other part of it is by the time it runs its course to the point to where it starts to blur the lines between reality and fiction, you know, what effect is that going to have on our society? But let's move on.
I mean, if there was a trans league, I'd be with you. But the idea of more...
But then it's not inclusive, right? You're kind of putting them over there by themselves.
Yeah. Because if they keep fighting y'all, they're going to keep breaking your skulls. So we have two options. We have two options. We either have inclusion or more women's skulls broken. What's the
Not
pick?
necessarily.
What's the third option?
I really don't know.
And again, this is just a metaphor. Even the sports thing is just a metaphor for the larger conversation.
I don't know. But I do think they should be allowed to play. So I don't know how that's going to work and how that's going to fit. And
you guys pay attention to her face. Look at the wiggling, the discomfort of her trying to answer these questions. And I'm sure he's picking up on this too. And it is funny. It's comical because, I mean, you have people, I mean, look, these women are in these fields, sociology, psychology. And these people are shaping the way we as a society are going to start looking at these problems, whether we're going to look at them realistically or whether we're going to look at them from a fantastic perspective, you know, and what does that say about us if we can't deal with reality?
And how everybody can just coexist and do their thing.
So your daughter is a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And you find out that next week she has to wrestle the state champion who was born a boy.
Mm-hmm.
As a parent, you okay with that?
I hopefully have confidence in my daughter's abilities, what she's doing. And I mean, there's probably going to be a conversation about it. But yeah, go out there and do your thing. Would you not let your daughter wrestle? Would you tell her?
Excellent!
You would tell her she couldn't do it?
Fuck no.
You would tell her she couldn't do it?
Absolutely.
What the world?
I box.
Okay.
I've been punched by a very, very skilled woman. I've been punched by a not so skilled man.
Okay. Not the same?
See, she doesn't even fucking know. Oops. Sorry about that. I've been trying to keep the cussing to a bare minimum. But she doesn't even know. She doesn't know what that's like for a person to be full-fledged punched, to where every punch is meant to take you out by a man. And that's why, you know, no, it's just not, it's not something that is even real to her. So, like I said, it's painful to watch her go through these mental gymnastics of trying to make this work because she wants these people to be included in the process, you know. But again, this is a sexual orientation that you can't talk about at work or in any other aspect of life that it's not even appropriate for you to even discuss it unless you're going to be in a sexual relationship with that individual. It's not appropriate. Unless you're like talking in a show, talking about somebody or about the act of sex or how to be better at it or whatever the case may be, or the manifestation of it in another group or whatever. Those are appropriate discussion places for this, you know. But, you know, when you're dealing with sports or you're dealing with medicine or you're dealing with, you know, all these things that are scientifically based, you have to deal with reality. You cannot, you know, wish it away. Yet that's what she's trying to do. And not only her, but I hate to say that this is a big deal in the Black community now, whereas it didn't used to be. But Black women are riding hard for this. And we have to ask ourselves why. Why are you riding so hard for this? And it's, you know, they don't even see it as an attack against manhood or masculinity. You know, they almost look at it as if it's just a bolstering of their numbers. They know that, hey, these trans men and these gay men are going to basically, you know, align with us. So, you know, more bashing of the, you know, the patriarchy, I guess. You know, but let's move on.
It's not the same.
Okay.
It's not the same. Now, if that state champion is, you know, just a girl who's a little bit more muscular than the average bear, that's different, right? Like Serena Williams or something like that. But if that girl, because the thing that we downplay is the bone structure density is different. It is fundamentally different. So I wouldn't subject my daughter to that danger.
Exactly. Again, if you go dig up the bones of a person from 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, they're not going to say what they identify as. They're going to say that is a man, that is a woman, because that's what your bone structures makeup is. You know, when they scrape out some tissue out of it and they try to, extract some DNA from it, it's going to come up as a man or a woman. It's not going to say, what did this person like to be? What would you like for this person to be? It's not going to say any of that, you know? And there's almost an attempt to go back and rewrite history with regard to this also. Well, there's always been, trans people. I'm starting to see a lot of just fuckery with history, historic representations, whether there were trans people walking around in Rome and in Africa and all kinds of stuff where we have never, ever seen any evidence to that effect, but now it's being added in the same way as they're doing with feminism. They're starting to interject a bunch of feminist ideologies into societies, ancient societies that it was not even an issue, so let's move on.
Okay.
But you would.
First of all, I don't have any kids, so my imaginary kids aren't being subjected to anything. But I don't know. I think it's, again, that, I don't know. That's tough. That's a tough.
I think it's simple. I think it's a slam dunk.
I don't think it's simple. I don't think it's right to just say you can't play sports because you decide that you want to be who you are on the inside and you want to fully express yourself. Well, you can't play sports. No, but I think I think it's not that we're trying to just exclude people for the sake of exclusion. I think if you have a certain number of DUIs, you should be able to drive. I think it should make sense, right? I think exclusion for the sake of the greater good, the greater safety, and in that realm specifically, in the sports realm, because men aren't worried about a girl who transitioned to a boy stepping on the football field. Come on. Or the basketball court. You know what I'm saying? We're not worried about that because we understand it's still in our favor. But with our daughters, that is a danger. And not even just the physical ramifications, but also, like I said, that 300-pound man who decides he identifies as a woman comes in and breaks all the female world records. And I'm a girl. I was a world record holder. I trained my entire life. I sacrificed blood, sweat, and tears. And this guy, because he suffers from gender dysmorphia, trained for 2 weeks, came in and killed me.
Look at that. Look at her face. She is upset because he used a term, gender dysmorphia, and I'm sorry, it does apply. It does apply. It's just like body dysmorphia. If you see yourself as fat, but you're not fat, you have an issue. You have a mental issue. If you see yourself as a woman, but that's been taken out of the DSM manual because of political pressure to take it out, because you didn't want to be categorizing these people as having mental illness. But across the board, these people have a propensity to have not only mental illnesses, but overlapping mental illness issues. Go look it up yourself. You don't need me to do it. I may go into it. I may dig into it a little bit and show some of the overlapping issues. It's not right to try to assess a patient, who is not there in front of you. However, if you're doing it in a generalized sense and you look at, say, case studies and you look at where these people have issues of abandonment, multiple issues, and I'll dig into it a little bit deeper here and maybe add it as a part of some of this. But she has an issue with that because she does not like what he's saying, but she has no leg to stand on to try to refute what he's saying, but she has discomfort. So she may not align with that community as far as her sexuality, but she aligns with the community, and you can see it. Body language, people, body language.
Is that fair to women?
I don't think it's dysmorphia. I think it's just...
Prove it. You don't think it's dysmorphia? Prove it. He should have read, well, I'm not going to tell you how to run your show, bro, because I love what you do. I would have read the DSM-4 diagnostic criteria for gender dysmorphia. And I'd have said, prove this not to be the case. Give me some data that shows that this is not the case.
Wanting to be who you are, and again, this limited amount of time that we are given, I think you need to just do your thing, be happy in whatever realm that is. But as far as like sports goes, I don't know. I'm
gonna stop right here again because I had another point. This is the same as, this is a part of that being able to have it all. This short amount of time that we have, I should be able to do whatever I want. I should be able to just, be sexually free. I should just do whatever the fuck I want to do, and consequences be damned. And then later on, when I don't want to do that shit anymore, then somebody else can deal with that issue. And that is where I take issue with people like this being able to have a say in the decision-making process. Level heads need to, scientific minds, people who are doing what is good for the best for society, for the perpetuation of our species. I think those people need to be making the decisions. These other people, these party people, they need to be excluded from that process. Sorry. Because you can't think right. This is like he said earlier. He said it's not that difficult. Well, it's a difficult question. No, it's not. You got a man fighting a woman. Is this person a man? Does this person have all the characteristics of a man? Why is this so hard? But for her, it's hard, because she feels that everyone needs to be included. We should be able to do everything and anything that we want. But see, as men, we don't have the luxury of doing that. We have to deal with the world as it is. And if it's something that we can shape and mold into something different, make something new out of that harsh, destructive terrain, if we can make it into a livable area, that's what we do. But we don't go into an area and say, hey, this harsh, barren desert is perfect for me to go and live in. And then we go out there and die. We don't do that. We go chop down some trees and, try to build some reservoirs and whatnot, start trying to make some farmland, and then we make it a livable place. But these people will be responsible for the destruction of everybody there. And that's what we have to take into consideration.
Know how to solve that, navigate that.
I think we need to live, the best possible life we can and be happy, but not at the consequence of other people.
But how's the consequence to other people?
Like the example I gave, that woman who just worked her ass off is now obsolete.
But that is something that I feel like, again, adjustments that I don't know. That's not my realm. I don't know. But I think that's something that can be altered, fixed, worked out. Other than that, is there any more consequences?
How?
Well, I think the consequences build on each other. I think, whether it's the physical consequence of that girl potentially being hurt, or the emotional consequence of, damn, I trained all my life and somebody with an unfair biological advantage came in and shattered everything I've worked for. And those can, lead to, what if that former world record holder is now an alcoholic? Because they're like, life is messed up. Like, what was the point of me doing all that work? So I think we have to have more foresight than just let this person live their best life.
But I'm not gonna say accountability, because the things that we do go through do affect us. and trauma or whatever does affect us, but I don't think we can solely blame.
So in her mind, she's saying, damn, this woman's trauma. She's supposed to be, going hard in the paint for women, but she's going even harder in the paint for another group that's going to basically destroy something that women have fought historically to have as their own.
Her theoretical person having an alcohol problem, oh, it's his fault. Like, that's the reason why she can. So, I mean, as far as like that goes, she's an adult that made those decisions, and she's not trying to actively help herself, and she's not taking steps. So I don't know if we can just say like, oh, this is going to lead to these people going down the wrong roads. At the end of the day, we all have choices to make.
I agree. However, I think, I'm a psychology nerd, so I'm all about cause and effect. Mm-hmm. And the reality of psychology is that a lot of the things we do, a lot of the ways we think about the world, a lot of our vices, a lot of our problems are a consequence of something that happened to us when we couldn't defend ourselves, whether physically or emotionally, right? So I try to think past just let them figure it out. I try to empathize a little bit. So for that girl who worked her ass off to be really, really good at this thing, the best female in the world or in her county or in school, whatever the case may be, to be upstaged by somebody with a biological advantage, I empathize with that. Mm-hmm. And I empathize with some of the potential consequences. I'm not saying that she should blame the transgender person. I'm saying that we as a society have a responsibility to make sure those things don't happen. That's the same reason why if somebody is found using steroids, they are just, disqualified from whatever they were participating in. Mm-hmm. And a man coming into a female sport is pretty much the equivalent of that. You have an unfair advantage, and you've acknowledged that, right?
I don't want to say it. Well, I mean, it is different because, like you said, biologically, men and women are different. I do acknowledge that.
Okay, we're on the same page.
Yeah, but
she's being forced to. See, she's being forced, and it's uncomfortable for her to acknowledge that. Yes, men and women are different. She is struggling with this. And whereas, he has no issue with saying, yes, I don't have a dog in the fight. It is what it is, So I find it fascinating when I see people like this who struggle with reality and have these, they're trying to wrestle with this fantastical thinking, and then they eventually just back off of it and punt it off for somebody else to solve. It's not me. People who are smarter than me need to deal with it, and then she's looking all up into the sky and looking all around, trying to avoid any kind of accountability on this subject or with regard to her position, And this is crazy, y'all. This is truly crazy. And people like this will defy any leadership that goes down the correct path, and they will fight for this other anomalous type things to be included. And this is crazy. It really is.
At the same time, again, that's just a really thick ball of yarn that needs to be untangled and worked through. But I don't know. I don't think it's fair to just exclude those people.
Okay, so we don't have to unravel it because I don't know how much time you have. But what do you think would be the first step to approaching that unraveling?
Maybe talking to the people who are transgender in those sports. Maybe talking to them. Maybe even seeing if they want to be in a league of their own. Because, that's solely affecting them. Maybe having a conversation with them.
Should we talk to the women?
Talk to everybody.
Okay.
Maybe is there a dialogue going on, or is it just something that's happening? Are people talking?
There is no dialogue because you can't talk about it. It's like, because we're in a very inclusive zeitgeist right now, so you can't.
So is there controversy over transgender people
Competing in women's sport?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nobody's talking about it.
Yes. Because you say anything about the LGBTQ, you're going to lose your job. Nobody's talking about it.
But people are lashing out and they're mad about it, and there's...
Yeah, like parents.
Now, see, this is a bit just disingenuous. I mean, do you not watch TV? Do you not watch the news? Are you not on a campus somewhere? Are you not at a job? Everybody is talking about this. I mean, this is not just something that is just so far from conversation and from daily life that it's just not an issue for her. I mean, I don't know, is she an airhead or something? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm trying to be respectful to, his guests and whatnot, but she seems a bit, far removed from rational thought.
For instance, like parents are like, I don't want my daughter competing against a dude. Even people like Joe Rogan, for instance, he's a MMA commenter. He's like, don't do this to these women. I know these women. Do not.
And Rogan is also a competitor. He's also a martial artist. So he knows the damage that would take place. And he watches females who are damn good. And he watches males who are damn good. And he sometimes is commentating on this, and he's sitting front row and watching, the effects of these blows and the damage that these people are taking. If I'm not mistaken, there are 2 trans women who are in the MMA right now who are fighting against girls. And, hey, that's a bit tough to watch.
Not subject them to this type of violence. Because again, ultimately, and this is where I think we don't give men enough credit. Men are saying that y'all are gonna get hurt if you just live and let live. Because it doesn't directly affect men outside of, I hollered at a girl that I thought was a girl, but it wasn't really a girl. But like on the sports field, it's y'all who are gonna be affected. So I think the conversation starts with y'all.
And she's
I think
unmoved.
the conversation starts with the people who are involved
Y'all
in
are
that
involved.
world.
So she feels like we shouldn't have anything to say about it. If we're not boxing or we're not doing anything, then we shouldn't say anything. We should just let them get up in there and just let them do whatever they're going to do. So basically, this is how a lot of black women try to jump you to and say, well, if it's not dealing with you, if it's not involving you, then why do you care? I get that sometimes from my wife too. Why do you care? What does it matter? And this is a part of as you grow older and you're a man, you have a place in society, a place in shaping society. You become a part of the war council, so to speak. All right. So it is your job to think about these bigger things and to try to move society towards a better direction, or your community towards a better direction. But see, she has no allegiance to anyone except for herself, and that's the type of people that are going out here getting these jobs, becoming these lawyers and judges, and maybe unable to wrestle with these tough issues. If you and you can see how this would probably or could probably play out if a serious issue is there, and then you're saying, well, saying some of the things that she's saying, it just, how would that work out? If you're on the Supreme Court, you're dealing with these issues and you're thinking like that. Or if you're a doctor and you're wrestling with these issues and you're denying, physical reality, or a lawyer, you got to deal with these things. They're not going to go away.
Yeah, in that world, I think they need to be talking about it.
And okay, so hypothetically, they say, okay, we want to still play against women. And the women say, we don't want to play against women who used to be men. What happens? What's the tiebreaker?
I don't know. They're going to have to figure that out.
See?
They're going to have to sit in that conference room and talk and figure out what is the meet in the middle. Again, that's not my space. That's not my area of expertise. I know nothing about sports. And regardless of if I'm a woman, I'm not playing a sport. I'm not playing a sport against a transgender person. So
It's fucking comical. This is hilarious. You know, that this is where we are. I mean, why don't you just bow out of it? I mean, and allow people who have the ability to make these decisions to make these decisions. You know, this is we have hordes of women out here like this who will go and protest and start, you know, BLM and all that. And next thing you know, we have the mess that we're dealing with, you know, and they have a political muscle and resources to basically push things in a direction that they really don't give a shit one way or the other about, you know, but all of us are left in the wake.
I can't give my opinion. They need to do this, man. I don't know. I think it's going to take those people in those spaces to sit down and have conversations and figure out if there is problems, if there is controversy, if there's people who have issues with it. Those people need to come and they need to talk. And they need to work it out, those people in those spaces.
Well, I strongly believe in community. So even if I'm not directly in the space, it affects me some type of way. For instance, children and things like that. So I think everybody needs to talk more, honestly. You know, and that's part of the goal of this, encouraging people to talk.
So yeah, that's where we're at. You know, so that's crazy. You know, that is truly, truly crazy. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I mean, that is junking up the process. I just don't understand, you know, where how this benefits us, how this benefits them. Why are we having such difficulty dealing with reality and dealing with anything when we're dealing with whether to do anything about gender situations, sex situations. I mean, you got people, you know, coming to work dressed as women who have not necessarily transitioned as women. People are coming to work. Everybody knows them by their girl name, but they're hired with a guy name. You know, I mean, it's not even legal. It's so wishy-washy now. It's just like, it's just willy-nilly, you know. I'm seeing it all over the place, you know. You go into the hospitals and you got dudes wearing women's scrubs and guys wearing guy scrubs, and, you know, they don't even have to look like women. They don't have to do nothing. They can just wear whatever they want. Everything's just all gender neutral. You know, it's just like on the Boondocks. You know, everybody's wearing skirts and, you know, doing their own thing, and nobody can say anything about it. You know, it looks strange, but you better not say anything. You know, how do you explain that to the kids? I mean, it's like there's certain things that you just didn't want in front of the kids. You wanted the kids to have enough time to have their childhood, and then you can decide whatever you want to do once you hit puberty and all of that. Once it comes out as to what you're attracted to or whatever, then you deal with that. But you don't interject that into childhood, you know, to where they're even having questions about that. They shouldn't even have questions about that at all, you know. But like I said, there is a very, very stern push to move us in a certain direction that I don't think is going to be good for us as a society. Sorry. You know, and people try to say this is just like civil rights. No, it's not. I'm black all the time. You know, I'm a man all the time. You know, these people, yeah, they may be whatever sexual orientation that they are, but they're going to see black before they see any of that. And then after that, they're going to see the second part. And then they move on from there, you know? And so these can be separate issues, all of which being important. And some may be more important than others, you know? But I don't necessarily appreciate the momentum being sucked off of civil rights for gender and sexual situations. I don't think that that's appropriate. And I think this discussion needs to continue. And I applaud this gentleman for stepping out there and looking at this situation. I appreciate everybody, coming through and checking out my commentary on it. And I had fun with this. I'm going to definitely go and check out some more and see where we are with this. If you guys have any comments, please like, share, and subscribe, and just let me know what you're thinking, and we can talk about it in the comments. I guess I will see you guys on the next run. You guys have a good night.
I feel like a